Hello there. My name is Alexander Lucard, and I am a HMIS System Administrator for Montgomery County. In today's training, we are going to look at how you change the head of the household for a family when they leave. In previous trainings, we have done how to create a family and how to update a family. And again, in this training, we are going to be looking at how to change the household type and the head of the household. If you've watched the previous household trainings, which I hope you have, you know that we've been using the Jetsons as our test family. So we're going to use them again today for this third and final household training. We're going to go over here to Client Point, and we're going to look them up. Remember, we always want to do a multiple search. You can look up by name, social security number, date of birth, all sorts of things. But we're just going to put a few letters in. We know that George Jetson is the head of the family, so we're going to put a few letters in like this. We don't have to put the full name in because we want to get the minimum entry for the maximum search potential. We're going to click search, and there's George Jetson. He's our head of family. But remember, we could also do something like just looking up Jetson. And there you can see Astra, Elroy, George, Jane, and Judy are all here. Again, because George is the current head of the household, we're going to click on him, and we're going to go take a look. Don't have to worry about backdating in this instance. And what we want to do is we want to go take a look at the Households tab. There are two ways you can get there. You can either click on the pencil here, and that will take us into Manage Households, or we can click on Households, Manage Household. Again, Household, Manage Household, or go back to the summary screen, click the pencil, it takes you back here. Same destination, but two different ways of getting there. And we can see that this is a properly set up family. We've got a two-parent household. We can see both parents here, George and Judy, and only one person is set up as a household. You should only ever have one person as the head of the household. And we can see the family set up correctly. Two-parent household, George is the head of the household. We can see son, wife, and daughter for Elroy, Jane, and Judy. And so this family is nicely set up. Everyone joined the family on 1/1/2018, and everything looks great. But in this example, we're going to say George leaves the family. And what happens when the head of the household leaves the family? And there's lots of ways that can happen. Perhaps it's a marriage and they end in divorce. Perhaps it's just a couple of people living together and the person marked as the head of the household goes their own way for whatever reason. Maybe the head of the household dies. There's a lot of things that can happen that changes the infrastructure of the family that you're dealing with or the household that you're dealing with. Because remember, a household doesn't necessarily need to be a family. It just needs to be a specific group of people living together. In this case, we do have a family, however, a two-parent family. So what we're going to do is we're going to be changing the household type and the head of the household. But before we make the change here on the household screen, we want to go over to the entry exit screen and make sure we exit out George. So we're going to go to the entry exit screen. We're still in George's account because he's the head of the household and the person we're exiting. And we're going to go over to the exit date pencil. We can see that the family has been in there together since 1/1/2018. We're going to click on the pencil, and this is going to bring up the edit exit data screen. Now, we only want George to have a check mark. If they all have a check mark like this, that means that every family member is going to be checked out. We don't want that. We only want the family member that is being checked out to have a check mark by their name. Now, if the entire family was leaving the program, that's when you want a check mark by their name. But if only part of the family leaves, we only want a check mark by the person who is leaving the household. And we can see, here we go, it's George. We're saying George is leaving. And we're going to say he's leaving today at the time of this taping, April 19th, 2021. And now we have to fill out the reason for leaving and the destination. We have to say why they're leaving. We always need to fill these out. And you can see we have a drop-down menu of a lot of different options. And what we're going to do is we're going to say there was a tragic accident at Spacely Sprockets. And we're going to say that George has passed away. Where is his destination? If a person has died, their destination is deceased. And this is a good time to also say, never choose data not collected. You never, ever, ever want to choose data not collected as an option in HMIS. If you do, that raises a red flag and says, hey, these people are not collecting data correctly. Maybe we need to take a harder look at this agency. So never choose data not collected. We're going to choose deceased because we're saying that George has passed on. And then we're going to hit save and continue. This is going to take us into the exit screen, and we can see the rest of the family is still in the program. They don't have an exit date, but George does. Why did he leave? He's passed on. Now, since we're in the exit screen, we want to take this time to make sure that everything under the exit screen is answered. Income from any source, all the HUD verifications are correct. Everything needs to be answered here for you to get full credit for the client. Total monthly income, non-cash benefits, covered by health insurance. Does he have Medicaid? No. And so what we want to do is we just want to make sure that everything here is set up and that you've answered everything. Oh, look, does client have disabling condition? Is not answered. So we're going to put in no, because we can see no, 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 no. If you want to double check HUD verification. And so it's always good to make sure that everything is answered, because once we hit save and exit, we really can't go back to the exit screen here. We can technically, but that's going to destroy your timeliness score. We'll cover timeliness in a different training, but know that once you've hit save and exit here, that's it. If you go back in here, it will destroy your timeliness score. So we're going to hit save and exit because everything is filled in. And there we go. George was in the program from January 1st, 2018 to April 19th, 2021. So now we're going to go back to the household screen. And we can see, oh, look, this is still a two-parent family. And so we need to manage the household screen here as well. Now, we have three changes we need to make. We need to change the household type. We need to remove George from the household. And then we need to set up Jane, his wife, as the new head of the household. Now, we can do these in any order. I'm going to remove George first, just because for me it flows easier. Remove the person and then make the other changes. Now, you might think, oh, let's do add delete household members. You click on this and you want to do the trash can by George's name. If you do this, this is going to permanently delete George from this household, his entire household history. So you don't want to do that. You never want to choose add delete household member unless you've put someone in the family that wasn't supposed to be there. Like, let's say you had two George Jetsons in the system and you accidentally added the wrong one to this household. That's when you would delete, because you don't want that one associated. If you choose delete household members in the trash can, that will delete their entire history. So you don't want that. What you do want to do to remove someone from a household is go to this red minus button here. We're going to click on that. And it's going to say, hey, what day did George leave this household? And we want to make sure we choose the same date that we did the exit for the client. We want them to match up. The client left household date should be the same date as their exit date under the entry exit screen. And if you remember, we did April 19th, 2021. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to hit save. And now George is gone from the family. You can see we just have these three. We have Jane and her children, Elroy and Judy. But if we look under previous household members, there's George. We can see that George was once part of the family. Again, if we had done add delete household members and trash can George, that would have removed him forever from the family, and that would have screwed up your entire entry exit, and you would have to redo everything. So never use the trash can under delete household members unless you've actually entered the wrong person into a household. So now we have two other changes to make. First, we're going to change the household type. Right here, two-parent family. Because George is gone, it's not a two-parent family. It's a one-parent family with Jane as the parent. And so we can do female single parent, right? And now the other change we need to make is the head of the household, because we currently don't have one. No, no, no. Jane is the parent, the last remaining parent. So she is the head of the household. Now we're going to change it to yes. So there we have female single parent. Yes, Jane. And we hit save and exit. And now we can see George is no longer a member of any household, but he was previously in this household that is now a female single parent one. So let's go back to client point and let's look at Jane. We can see the household is now a female single parent. And another neat thing that we can do is if we want to click on the pencil or go into the family, we look at the household history report. We can click on this button and we can see when the change was made. We can see that Jane was changed right here to the head of the household. All right. And if we go back into the entry exit, if we go to the start date, we can see that it's changed to female single parent. We have changed the household type successfully. Now you might be going, hey, why is George still here? Why is George still in the family? We removed him. Because remember, we just clicked on the entry date, right? And George was a member of the family back in 2018, so he's still going to be there. You don't want to uncheck George when you go into the entry because he was part of the family in 2018. And if we just click on, we hit save and continue, we can see, yeah, see there is the whole family history. The rest of the family is in there. In 2001, or sorry, 1/1/2018, all 4 members were there. And on 4/19/2021, George tragically passed away. All right. And that is what it's going to look like. That's all you have to do to change the household. Let's go back and remind you. You go under Manage Household. You click the minus sign for the member of the family that's left, especially if it's the head of the household. And then once that head of the household is changed, you have to change the household type, if applicable. And you have to mark a new person as the head of the household. In this case, we did Jane. And that is all you have to do to change the head of the household and the household type. And remember, you need to do this every time there's a change to the head of the household. So another good example would be, let's say Jane remarries. We'd add the new husband into the family. And we would change this back to a 2-parent family because now there are 2 parents. Even though one is a step parent, it still would be a 2-parent family. And that's all we have to do to edit the households. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope these household trainings have been very helpful for you. And I look forward to doing another training with you in the future. Have a great day.